Ooh, looky looky. Here's Doom 3 to cream my cookie. In celebration for reaching 300 subs, I thought I'd review one of the best games you can put your grubby hands on. I've had a chill out playing Bugsnax, so now it's time to jump back on the front lines and get neck deep in some good old Blood and Bones. What other game is better to make a bloodbath with than Doom 3? This is one of those games for me that is an all-time great. That being said, going back to these older games can be a risky business, as some of them don't stand up well in comparison to modern games. Now, Doom 3 has been in my back catalogue for years. In that time, I've bought a small collection of copies, a Steelbook edition for the original Xbox, a PS4 version, and the VR version. I've really got to set that thing back up. But I'm not quite ready to break another TV just yet. The colourful bucket we have arrived on is owned by the Union Aerospace Company, the biggest conglomerate in town. These guys proudly boast that because they are under no ethical, moral or legal restrictions, the company has been able to make great strides in technology. We can only imagine the horrific things they have got up to over the years. This research station is run by this handsome looking sane guy.
Amazing things will happen here soon. You just wait.
We have been sent here to assist in poking around the place to investigate why staff have been leaving and straight up disappearing. Not only that, but a place run by this fella also has a budget spiralling out of control. Losing money prompted the UAC upper management to send in 2 Marines and a counsellor to figure it out. Little did they know they would have been better off sending a priest, a rabbi and Hellboy.
Oh well, let me go in and say hi.
In Doom 3, we play as a no-name Marine who walks around with his fists up, itching for a fight.
Oh, you want to fight, huh? Think you can take me, you little buggers?
I quickly realised that I tagged along as a pretty face, so I decided to see what people do for fun around here. The best escape I could find from the mental torment of hearing whispers at night and colleagues disappearing is an arcade turkey punching game. It's nice to see the Doom guy enjoying his retirement, eh? Wait, did Doom 3 unintentionally invent clicker games? Having this game here tells you everything you need to know about the kind of work environment this is. Similar to how lots of writing all over the walls gives a good indicator into someone's mental state. As quick as we arrive, a scientist goes missing, prompting Sergeant Keller to send his lackey, Russell Crowe, to go find him. Being fresh meat, having no idea where anything is, apparently made me the most suitable Marine to play this round of hide and seek. I'm quickly issued a strap because I must have left mine on the bus or something. Wait, why do I need a gun to find a scientist? Not wanting to come off rude, I took it and tried to figure out the station's rules to the game, because the dude who gave me the gun said don't shoot anyone.
Haven't seen anyone new down this way in quite some time.
I was confused with these mixed messages and bored of reading people's personal emails, so I went off and found the missing scientist. Before I could work out if I needed to shoot him to win this version of hide and seek, this cock blocker came in and stole my moment.
Oh hey!
I felt that the other team were playing dirty, so I decided that it was okay to kick all these cheaters back into the fire pit they crawled out of. After that, it all goes to hell and I was left to navigate the place by myself without a map. I quickly found out that Doom 3 doesn't care about my feelings and it wants to rip my face off as quickly as it can. The enemies are fast, unpredictable and merciless. Okay, not all of them, that is why they love setting traps, which are near on impossible to avoid unless you know that they're there. I think this is great game design because it makes you twitchy as. You really don't know what is going to happen. Anything could come from anywhere at any time. This for me made the game feel more organic because enemies would be moving around the station looking for the next fleshy thing to have a little nibble on.
Shut up.
Though I'm not convinced that zombies would be smart enough to plan such surprise attacks, it makes more sense than them sitting around in a room playing cards until I walk in. Spotting lurkers in the dark can be an issue, as future torches last less time than a woman's interest in hearing about head crabs. These inferior military grade torches force you to be conservative, but at some point you will get it wrong and be left standing in the dark sweating with your shotgun. I hope you can see how the atmosphere is building by layers of good game design choices that complement one another. Most horror games fail to build these vital components and just simply rely on overused tropes. This makes them predictable, and with that a game loses the element of the unknown. As we all know, things are less scary if you know what they are. It is why I believe Alien Isolation has you running away from Discount Crichton for most of the game instead of the Xenomorph. Good horror comes from the unknown, and Doom 3 has it in spades. There are so many nuances going on that it's hard to get them all down. Talking about odd things, the other day I walked into my kitchen and heard a bang from the garage. So I went in there and had a look and found a hammer I used the other day on the floor. I wondered, how did it fall off the side? Strange, but I shrugged it off, put it back where I previously left it, and went back into the kitchen. As I walked back in, the oven alarm went off, which stumped me as I didn't set it. I wasn't cooking anything. Some freaky stuff. Doom does this sort of choreographing, but rarely does it feel overly contrived. The game has such a mixed bag of tricks to mess with you that it is one of the few games that can actually pull off jump scares. Because of this, noises put me on edge, whereas in most games I blow them off because I know they're superficial. With Doom, you can never afford to stay off point. As you quickly discover, this has definitely been designed and tested by people who know what gamers typically do, and they exploit it. You will learn not to trust anything when you're going into a room. This kind of cagey atmosphere makes you want to creep and pop round corners, but Doom has factored that in and you're playing into its trap. So on the other hand, you think charging in is the way to go. Unfortunately, a lot of things are going to take a chunk out of you. This in itself made me unsettled because sticking with either approach doesn't work consistently. You have to be able to adapt very quickly to what is happening. I did feel to some extent the advantage had been taken away from me, but not in a massively unfair way. After all, these are demons, they're not going to fight nice or fair. All that being said, for the most part there's plenty of health and ammo around. However, there are parts where resources are thin, making it feel a little bit more like a survival horror. But overall, the game is atmospheric, suspenseful, sometimes psychological, and definitely a balls-to-the-wall brutal shooter. Thinking of more modern games that are the closest comparison, I'd say BioShock, Condemned, and Metro, but Doom 3 is much more intense than all of them. This is the sort of game you play with your headset on at night and zone into because it is so immersive. I found the navigating around the station without a map quite refreshing, as it added to the level of concentration needed. While going around to complete objectives, I had to remember where I had been and where I had strategically left health pickups and stations. It all helps with the immersion. I also liked that there were no waypoints or objective markers. This is old school. I really liked playing something that didn't treat me like I was completely inept. As I said, this game has got a lot of detail and some of the finishing touches I really liked. One of them was the vibration from enemy bullets contacting solid objects near me. I thought I was being hit at first until I realised what was happening. It made me know that the enemy's bullets weren't being fired out of spud guns. I have to say though, it is a bit of a shame that there's no trigger response for shooting, but it is an old game that is just simply being ported over. Anyway, I also liked that my guy reacted to getting hit. jolting as one would taking a bullet or a love tap from a cheeky demon. These details made the combat much more engaging. Of course, there is gore, enemies show bullet wounds when they're hit, and zombies turn into lovely decorative skeletons when you put extra lead into them. I miss this in games. Not only do guns nowadays feel like BB guns, but enemies scarcely bleed or show bullet holes. Call me old fashioned, but when I shoot something made out of flesh and blood, I want it to bleed and blow to bits. If it doesn't, I feel as though I'm shooting something inorganic with a number counter. Some things are the same as the previous two Dooms. The save anytime function is here, which is nice for the save scummers like myself. The traps where enemies spawn behind you out of hidden cupboards made their way here. However, I feel they fit better in this third installment than the previous two, because this game is much more horror focused rather than a straight up arcade shooter. That being said, it still feels cheap at times. Doom 3 does have collectibles and it makes you work for them. Around the station there are locked storage units which you can find the codes for. In order to get these codes you will have to collect emails and audio logs. The smart thing about it is that while you're going through all of these emails and audio logs to look for these codes, you will be given anecdotes from people on the station, which is getting you further immersed into the story. Something that is a bit of a shame is that all but the zombie bodies disappear when you kill them. It's odd because all of the corpses stayed in Doom 1 and 2. Being really picky, it would have been nice for all of the bloody corpses to stay around, like a shrine to my demon killing skills. Without a pile of them, who is going to believe hell literally opened up and I single-handedly killed all of the demons? If I gave that as an explanation, they would just look at my medication. The biggest gripe I have is cycling through the weapons. In this sort of shooter, you should be able to bind 4 weapons to the D-pad so you can quickly switch between your most used guns in combat. Unfortunately, if you're using like a heavy weapon, let's say the pulse rifle, to get back to a workhorse like the assault rifle or shotgun, you have to cycle all the way through every gun and find the most efficient way of doing it. So this game has 10 weapons in total. What you have to do is remember the precise amount of clicks and which way you're going from the cycle, up or down, to get to whatever gun you want to use. I have to do this as spiders are nibbling my crotch and demons are throwing fireballs at me. The demons get another advantage because once you start reloading, you can't stop or switch weapons. This, in combination with cycling through the weapons, is less than ideal. Furthermore, there are levels that are in very confined spaces that you can't strafe around, or use your rocket launcher because the enemies are too close. Did I mention demons don't play nice or fair? Anyway, apart from all of that, there's plenty of variety in enemies, weapons, puzzles, and bosses to keep you engaged right up until the end. In conclusion, this is still a brilliant game. I had loads of fun going back to it. It still puts a majority of horror and first-person shooters to shame. This is why the game is still a hot topic today, many years after its release. Doom 3 is a fundamentally tight shooter with genius game design down to the finer details. It still deserves its legendary status and it has aged very well over the 20 years since its release. In my opinion, it is a shame the franchise decided to go back to the arcade style shooter instead of developing on this, but I guess that's what makes Doom 3 even more special.
Cookie! Nom 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 nom. Oh, nom 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 nom. Nom 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 nom.